Hey Gemma, how's it going?
Kyle, how are you?
I am good. I'm good.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time for the call today. I won't take up too much of your time. I know you're busy, but I do just want to jump on the call and let you know that you have been chosen for Agent of the Month for Juicebox.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So we in our meetings we talk about our agents and how they're doing, both wins and then just attitude and commitment. And you've come up quite a lot over the past month. So you were voted as Agent of the Month. So I wanted to share that with you. Congratulations.
Awesome. Thank you.
And then I just like to kind of pick your brain, just ask you a few questions if you don't mind, just kind of find out a little bit about your time with us. So can you tell me a little bit about what made you decide to get into this business in the first place and why you do this?
Insurance in the first place?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in April of 2015, I believe, my aunt actually passed away, and because of insurance and proper financial planning, her family, like her immediate sons and her husband, were able to grieve and take off time from work and not really have to worry about anything financially. And that was when my aunt first joined the business, my other aunt that actually helped sell her an IUL, right before she had a sudden heart attack and passed away. So that kind of drove my family to get even more involved in this business. And my mom signed up. And then when I finished going to college, they, recruited me in basically too, and gave me the opportunity to do it as well. So that was the reason I got into it. In the first place. There we go. I don't know. I was like, this looks weird. It's so foggy. But so yeah, that's kind of why I got into insurance. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I definitely knew I wanted to be my own boss and have an opportunity to kind of scale my income and grow with not really any caps or limits.
Yeah.
So that was the reason I got into it in the first place. And I got licensed back in June of 2018. And initially it was just like part-time. Really spare time, because the previous IMO I was with didn't really believe in leads. So it was all based on your friends and your family, and my family recruited me into the business. So they went half of my network, and the other half of my network were people still in college or fresh out of college and didn't have money or families. So it's like, I didn't really have anybody to help. But yeah, so that was, almost 5 years ago that I got started in insurance.
So when you started, what kind of were the challenges that you faced that were kind of going on when you joined Juicebox? And then do you feel now, you've been with us, I think like 6.5 months, I want to say, I think you've been launched. Do you feel you've kind of overcome those since, working with us?
100%. Yeah. My upline in my IMO has a very unique way where he brings in clientele through social media, and he's like blown up and has a couple 100,000 followers. So like he explained and taught me about IULs and annuities. I just couldn't bring in the clientele for myself. And I didn't really know how to provide or show the value, because he would bring people in and they already knew, they already know, like, and trust him. And, basically whatever he recommended, they were going to do, because he's, in their eyes, the money guy, So he already had that built in trust factor, where wherever he said, it didn't matter what he said after that, but if he told them to go with an IUL, they were going to sign up, so I just didn't have that posture or the way to show it. And I felt like I would mention it, bring it up. As soon as I talked life insurance, it's like I almost lost them. So I use Juicebox, which Renji Matthews showed me. He's basically my sideline, I guess, but we're always talking and doing business together ourselves. But he showed me Juicebox, and initially the thing that caught my attention was a proven sales system, just to show people the benefits based on looking at numbers, because people lie but numbers don't. So when you can show them the numbers and provide value that way and kind of encompass like a holistic financial planning, that's what intrigued me into joining the business in the first place. And that was the route I wanted to go. And, 7 months ago, I felt like I was almost banging my head every day, just dialing final expense leads. And, and I'm glad I'm starting to pivot away from that more and more and just get into, retirement planning and safe retirement planning. So it's been a huge sense of relief for sure.
That's awesome. What are the biggest things you think have kind of helped you in contributing to, we hear about all the appointments that you're setting and the wins that you're having, which is great. Now you're becoming a partner, which is awesome as well. So what do you think the biggest things were in that shift for you?
Yeah. So, well, actually, this week has been my biggest week in Juicebox, and I didn't even post the numbers anywhere or anything. I was going to do it on the Wednesday call, but I wasn't able to get on. And it actually has most of the people in my IMO asking me, Kyle, what are you doing? What leads are you running? So I guess that's a really good compliment there, first and foremost. But the only thing that's really changed is just my confidence. And it's not only in the system, but now it's in me too. So like at the beginning of every morning, I've started to make it a habit of mine to like digest something about IULs, annuities, or life insurance, just to start my day in the right mindset. And then from there, like since I've been doing that the last 2.5 weeks, like my business has completely changed too, because now when I get on the phones, and the phones or on Zooms, it's just a lot more conviction, and that's what these people are looking for, someone that's confident in the plan. And actually about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, I jumped on the partners call and asked, I think it was Jim, Mike, and I think Seth was even there too, but I was like, you guys sometimes talk about like, when you're talking to clients, like you need to do this, or like, this is what you should do, where I'm almost like asking, hey, do you want to move forward? Like, does this make sense? And since that call and just the additional action I've been doing, putting in intentional effort to prime my mind and remind myself that what I'm doing is actually helping people, I think it's just been coming off naturally. And my conviction and confidence in myself, plus the process right now, is just really clicking on all cylinders, I feel like. So it's been awesome.
Awesome. I think that confidence too, like conveys what we kind of talk about, which is like coming from that place of service, right? When you're confident in your product and you're confident in what it can do, it comes off as like more so that I'm here to help you, versus if you're a little unsure, it comes off maybe a little bit more salesy. But I think that's awesome. So talking about then, you said you had your biggest week this week. You've been with us now 6.5 months. If you could kind of quantify, your wins at this point, what would that be? And how has that kind of changed your life personally at this point?
Yeah, so to quantify it, I think I'm doing a pretty good job of tracking it here. Give me a second, but okay, that should be right. So yeah, year to date, I'm at 60,000 in target premium. And that doesn't include like a couple of the conversations that I'm in between right now, where I've never really closed any annuities prior to joining Juicebox, and I've done 2 now. And I'm in the process of like 5 to 6 more that it's just like beginning stages. We started talking about it, and now it's like follow-up calls are booked. Like I've got one right after this call. I've got one on Monday with Mike jumping on and helping me with that. And then I think a couple more in the middle of next week. So like, as far as that, and those numbers, I don't know, they don't seem like to be adding up, but at least for this week, like on Monday, submitted $800 a month in like client premium, so $9,600 a year. That target's $4,500. Later in that day, I did $1,000 a month. That target was $5,400. And then yesterday did another $1,000 a month, and that target's $5,500. And then I got a meeting today where we should be submitting an annuity application, which is that's $80,000 in an old 401k that we're going to be rolling over. So like as far as this week, that's what I'm talking about. Everyone's like, what are you running? What are you doing? So telling them, hey, just IUL leads, and
has it changed things for you, like in your personal life? Is this coming into Juicebox and like really digging into this process, and you've kind of taken it and run with it since you joined, which is awesome to watch. We like to say obviously this is going to change your business, but this could also change your life, just like what you're doing for these clients changes their life.
Absolutely.
Have you felt that shift too? I feel like that probably leads to more confidence as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. The income has income has increased with, I feel like, less work, which that's another thing. Over the last 2.5 weeks, I've been putting in more work, and I think that's all what's starting to compound. But like this next month is already set up. As soon as these go through and start issuing, the next like 60 days should be my best 60-day run as far as commission and income wise in insurance, which is super exciting, because actually about a month ago, my girlfriend broke her ankle at work, so she hasn't been able to work, and I've had to take care of her. And now just having like not having to sit there and dial the phone for 12 days running final expense leads, but I can kind of help her out, dial, book appointments, and this is a lot more flexible without having to do as much work necessarily. But just more intentionality behind these people wanting to talk with me. Otherwise, I was 50% show rate to appointments with final expense leads. With Juicebox and TFRA, it's closer to like 80 to 85%, and if they're not going to show up, they're typically texting me like, hey, something came up, I can't do it today, can we talk on Saturday? So like they're rebooking themselves, which in the final expense world, if they don't show up, good luck ever getting a hold of them again.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So yeah, but yeah, it's been great.
That's awesome. So last question, I'll let you go because I know you're busy. If you were to give some advice to those new agents that we have kind of joining Juicebox and just starting out, what would be kind of your biggest piece of advice that you would give them?
Just to come in like a sponge and just absorb all the knowledge that is in all of the trainings, all the knowledge that is in all of the weekly calls we have. And that's probably another thing, just to attend the weekly calls, because I learned so much and pick up on a lot of things from hearing other people's cases, where like just today I picked up on a strategy that Seth recommended to somebody else for a husband that has a pension, but like the wife in the relationship doesn't. And like they came up with a strategy to basically give her a personal pension. And I was like, I didn't even think about that for a client I have coming up. So like I wouldn't have even thought of that. And I wasn't originally going to ask for any help on it because I thought I had an idea of what to do. But like, I mean, that just sparked in another idea. And like just going to those calls and hearing different people talk about it, and hearing Jim's take versus Seth's take versus Mike's take. And that's just really helped me as well, as far as, the verbiage and the language I use now when I'm on calls is a piece of each of them. It probably comes out naturally now without me even really realizing it. And I was actually talking to, so my mom's best friend got her license, and she's doing this like spare time while she teaches, but she has a friend that wanted an IUL for like $1,000 a month. And she was like, here, Kyle, help me finish this out. She's got a bunch of questions. And I was on like an hour and a half long Zoom the other day helping her out. And when we get off the call, my mom's friend texted me. He was like, I know I'm not your mom, but I feel like a proud mama right now. You're like, you've grown up, you're doing so well, and you know what you're talking about, which is impressive because of how young you are. And I was like, well, it's not me. It's just, this is what I do, 60 hours a week. I'm always in trainings and meetings, listening to other people and talking to people, so over time that'll come. But yeah, come in and just be a sponge and learn from all the experience and the people that are running the system the right way. Because yeah, when you plug in and you do all that, like you guys guarantee the success, and it's there,
Awesome. Well, congratulations again on being Agent of the Month. Look forward to hearing about more wins, and also awesome on the biggest week that you've had. So I love that.
Absolutely.
So enjoy your weekend, and we look forward to hearing about more wins from you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Right.
I hope so too.
Take
care. Bye.